Hello, hello, and welcome. Bear with us just a minute while we get Malkie up. Thank you for joining us yet again for Havva and Malkie Have Trouble with Technology. Have I lost the button? There it is. Okay, and we should probably switch to English because Malkie's a minute now. If you're sticking through all of this on the replay, then thank you very much, and I hope it will be worth your while. Hang on. Hunting for Malkie. Wild Malkie's on the Instagram somewhere. I hope. She better be. I'm going to try that again. Let's say, Malkie, you are invited to join. Nope. The invitation has been sent, so we are just waiting for her to show up. All right. Well, in the meantime, let me see if I can show you a cute cat. MJ. Hi, the room is full of cats. They're just, hey, come here. You like being on camera. Come on. Yes, here's my good girl. If I were trying to talk to the camera and get something done, here we go. You would be right in there. This is MJ. Yes, oh, sad baby. We named her after a Marvel character before we found out that she's Batman. One of her favorite hobbies is to sit in the window and stare out over the city. Very hard to get a good picture of that due to the lighting circumstances when she's being Batman usually, but makes a good Batman. And it's nap time for everyone. But I might have to switch over to Instagram and send Malkie a message and say, Malkie, why are you not on Instagram? Switch over to Instagram. Switch over to WhatsApp. Get on WhatsApp and say, Malkie, where are you? I'm going to bet she's either having connectivity problems or the dog has jumped on her and knocked the phone down. An animal sort of day today. All right, 1 second. Hey, where are you? And then I will write, sorry for yelling, because my computer was in caps lock. Yes, someday we're actually going to get our stuff together and edit out all of this. It says here, but I do not see her. I don't see you. I just invited you again. Just re-invited you. My computer thinks re-invited isn't a word. So silly. Here we go.
1 second as I work my... There we go.
Okay,
wow, that was like some fun technical problems. Is that what was happening?
I don't know. I invited you, and you weren't there, and I went and double-checked that I actually sent the invitation, and it said invitation sent, waiting for Malkie to respond. And then I got on WhatsApp, and here we are.
Right.
But I showed people a cat in the meantime, so hopefully they stuck with us.
So yes, hopefully. And also, it's just a few minutes. So how are you? What's up? I will say that you sent me a couple of messages, and I haven't finished listening to them yet.
That's okay.
Okay. So off topic? Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, no,
so what's up with you? What's happening?
Our previous conversation, not
okay.
Planning for this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm pretty dead. Yesterday was my brother's birthday, and he wanted to go to an Indian restaurant, and there was literally nothing I could eat at the Indian restaurant except plain rice and lettuce, which I'd planned on sticking to, but it had been a really long day, and so I tried breaking my new diet. It turns out that I probably shouldn't do that.
Okay, but you know what? That's actually a really important piece of information.
Yeah, it is actually, like, it factored into my decision making. I was like, maybe it's not actually, maybe the diet isn't what's been helping this past 2 weeks, and I'm just avoiding delicious Indian food for no reason, and I might never eat Indian food again, and, you know,
right.
pointlessly. So I was like, you know, I'll have something nice now. I had, like, chana masala and like this fried onion and chickpea flour, and not only did my sinuses like immediately get blocked and I felt the energy draining out of my body, it didn't taste as good as it used to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's great because if my body is like learning, gosh, things that make me feel this way aren't things I should be encouraging the brain to look for and eat.
Right.
And,
that's important. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm glad you learned that piece of information. I'm really sorry that you're feeling tired.
I mean, I'm still feeling way better than I was 3 weeks ago. So.
Okay. And it's not the sort of thing that's going to be like 2 weeks till it's out of your system? No? Okay. Because
I hope not. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Because I had to literally change the dog food.
Oh boy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even know how to say that in English correctly, to get the correct feeling across, but I felt like what it's von bonit me funeket. I told the people in the
There is no translation.
I felt like a little French poodle with a bow.
Yeah.
I told people like in the course that I'm doing on Sunday, I was like, I'm really sorry. I'll do other stuff if I can get out of the dishwashing rota, because I don't want to touch your dishes after you put your food on them.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, we should maybe introduce ourselves.
We should. So go ahead. You introduce you first.
On the off chance you've stuck with us this long but don't know who we are, welcome. I am Havva Mahler. I am a practitioner of Chinese medicine and an expert in classical Chinese astrology, and with me is
Malkie, Rimon, and I'm a life coach, and really good at it, might I add.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You beat me to it. And welcome to Thriving Sucks.
It does. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yep.
I actually had a client once say to me, why can't I be done? I mean, listen, my clients, once they reach their goals, they can go. It's just that so far they've chosen to stay, which is fine. I don't want them to, God forbid, I don't want them to become dependent on me, which is a terrible thing. But also, like, people reach a goal and then they set another one. And she was like, why can't I ever feel like I've done it? Why can't I ever feel like I've gotten, like, why is it that I can't, like, reach a certain level of personal development and be happy and just be like I reached this level of personal, this is good. Like, I'm sane now.
One of my teachers once said, when we were discussing, like, the inherent imbalance in all human beings, he's like, the world is full of people who are perfectly balanced, where, like, their heavenly energy is up, their earthly energy is down, they're calm, they're happy with where they are, they don't need to do any more, they're just all underground.
Ouch. Yeah.
But if you don't want, like, all of your material energy to go down and all of your spiritual energy to go up, then there's going to be inherently frustration in the process.
Yes. And also, quite frankly, why do we believe that our brains are different than our living rooms?
So some people want to achieve, like, living room and then be done. I've met them.
Not possible, because you're always going to have things coming in and things going out, and they all go through your living room, depending, that's just the nature, or at least in my house layout, everything comes into the living room, everything goes out to the living room. Sometimes, and then my daughters decided that we're finally going to redo the cabinet that I've been wanting to redo for over a year now. I got all the supplies, and then it was just a matter of, like, knowing that I didn't have the stamina at that point in time with everything else that I'm doing to do the cabinet. So my daughter was like, fine, I'm doing it. She took off all the doors. She's been sanding down that beast. It's great. I mean, dirty, but great. And so the youngest went through all of the games, right? And there were boxes of games in my living room that I need to drop off at the, like Ezra, I don't know how you say that, in, like, at the thrift store.
Goodwill. Like
the local equivalent of Goodwill. And because they're great games, they still have all their pieces. We're just done. But till that happens, and meanwhile, boxes in the living room.
Yep. Meanwhile, I have cats, so I can see, like, a stuffed elephant and 2 fake mice just from where I'm sitting, and a cardboard box that I don't need.
But here's the thing, is that when those games finally leave and I finally get them to Goodwill, life will be better, because once the cabinets are also done, the games go back, you'll actually be able to see what's in the cabinet. It's a very exciting thought. So net, our lives will improve. And I think that thought work is basically the same thing as, like, for a while. Didn't we talk about this last week? For a while, things are messy. It's a work in progress. And then you do the work, and all of a sudden things are better. But they're not done. They feel done for a minute. But then
someone once described Someone once described therapy as having like someone go through all your closets and occasionally look at you and be like, how do you live like this? You can let some of this go.
Yeah. Yeah. All of it. Let all of it. Okay. So what's our topic for today?
We got a topic for today.
Even though we just, it seems like no matter what our topic is personal development. Like it does not, like, I mean, we never really stray far afield from that.
Well, I mean, we named the podcast Thriving Sucks.
This is true. This is true.
Like we're not hiding our
I can't.
Ulterior motives. They're not ulterior. The subtext is text.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. Yeah. So our topic for today, officially, we'll put it in the I'll put it in the description, and then no one will understand why there's these random words that have nothing to do with what we're talking about there. But our topic for today is after the crisis.
Yes. This after the crisis is a moment that people have a tendency of glossing over as though it didn't happen because everything's better now. Therefore, I should feel better, you should feel better, we should all feel better, let's move on.
So can I share a story about you?
There's a manic level of let's move on. Go ahead.
Okay, so 2014 was an exciting summer. There was a lot going on in the Middle East, and some of it was like giant chunks of metal flying through the air and landing around where we live, among other places. Mm-hmm. And, I think you guys had to run for your safe room multiple times. I spent a lot of time in an air raid shelter. And around...
You make it sound like a natural event. Random chunks of metal just happen to randomly fall from the sky.
My sister who lives in the States called me at some point, like during that summer, and she was like, hey, how's it going? And I said, well, it's been a stressful day. The neighbors are trying to kill us. And she was like, oh my God, is there like a gang next to you or something? Are there criminals in your neighborhood? And I was like, no, the neighbor's like a little further away. Not a lot further away, because I live near the border.
A lot further away. It's like when you're talking in terms of American distances, like if you're thinking in terms of U.S. distances, it is literally the gang next door. It's like, what, 11 kilometers from where you used to live?
Oh, less than that.
It's walking distance.
It was walking distance, yeah. Anyway, so there was like that. Mm-hmm. It was like, one of those summer things that happens, like sandstorms. Mm-hmm. And in like October, I think, I was talking to you, and we were talking about your kids, and you were saying that one of your daughters has been having a really like hard time focusing on things, and she's been really stressed, and she's been acting out a lot. And I said, oh, maybe it's like to do with what happened this summer. And you said, yeah, she has an awful time dealing with the heat.
I absolutely believe you.
It's like stuck with me ever since then as, okay, so the crisis is over and we're done with it. And especially because I've been talking to a lot of people this week because we had a much smaller scale and shorter event this month. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to a lot of people this week who are like, I don't know, it's been a hard month and I've not accomplished all of my goals, and I don't
literally
know.
Every one of my clients who lives in Israel, literally every single one of them is like, well, no, that's definitely not it.
Yes. And I love I never get stressed out by these. Like, I'm used to it.
Yes. I had a client say this to me. For real. Yeah. She said, it was like, yeah, no, that's not what's causing the problem.
Hint, stress accumulates.
That it does.
Anyway, so crisis passed.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you have usually the fun uncertainty of, is the crisis passed? Mm-hmm. Is it really? Yeah. Is it actually? Will the ceasefire hold? I don't know, will there be more issues with the project I turned in? Are they going to come back and say, actually, we need another form?
Oh, God, no, not that. That's worse than, bureaucracy is literally worse than big chunks of metal falling from the sky.
No, I will share. I watched an amazing video yesterday. It's a clip from some TV show that I've never heard of. And it's like two cops who are supposed to be good cop, bad cop with the guy they just arrested. And so the guy is like, I'll be bad cop. Here I go. And he goes in, he's like, listen, if you don't speak up, we're going to have to fill out form 3978J.
Oh, no. No.
and then it's not going to get processed right away because Deb's still on maternity leave.
That must be Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I do not know. I mean, I haven't seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I have no idea what the show was. Okay. But if I find it, I will share it with all of you people out there because it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, bureaucracy. But, okay, getting past the bureaucracy or whatever it may be, how do we know the crisis is over? Is, like, the crisis over when we start freaking out about it again? Or when we start trying to pretend it's past and actively forgetting it?
I don't think that we actually know that the crisis is over.
There is a moment when the nervous system switches from, like, dealing with to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can say, for example, after 2014, it was a week.
Right.
There was, like, during the war or the not a war or whatever, everyone, you know, it was like people described during the Blitz, pull together, helping each other out,
Mm-hmm.
being nice. People with back problems were like, I have no problem running errands and picking up my grandchildren. Watch me pick them up and run to the shelter. And, you know, like everyone was braced. Everyone was digging out extra energy from their reserves, and so they were feeling better about all sorts of chronic conditions. And there had been a number of, like, is it a ceasefire? Is it not a ceasefire? Okay, it turns out that wasn't actually a ceasefire. 1 week, like 7 days after the signing of the last ceasefire, the one that held, everyone collapsed.
Right.
And so there is a moment, like physiologically, there's a moment where your nervous system goes from, like, dealing with crisis to now it's time to rest and eat and not do anything else ever again.
Yeah. I'm thinking about when my youngest daughter was in a household accident from hell. It was awful. She was in the hospital for 2 months. There were procedures almost daily and 2 surgeries. And then a year and a half of constant caring for the wounds. It was a mess. It was awful. And a year and a half. And then at the end of the year and a half, the doctor looks at us and says, and during that time, she had a compromised immune system. During that time, she was considered medically fragile for a chunk of that time. And then we go for the appointment, which I did not know was going to be the last one. And the doctor says, okay, well, this is it. This is as good as it's going to get. You're done. And from here on in, she is considered a healthy child. And I was ecstatic for, I don't remember exactly what very short period of time. And then I felt like I had been hit by a truck. Mm-hmm. Because the crisis is definitely over. I have to switch. It was not easy switching what I thought of her. And even today, she and I got into a text fight over sunscreen because I misunderstood something she said. And she's like, no, I don't need sunscreen. I'm like, and I start like, yes, you do, all caps. Like, you need sunscreen. What are you making? It's after like 6 p.m. I don't need sunscreen. I was like, oops, sorry, never mind. Oh,
wow. Yeah. There's, so me and some friends of mine actually did like an observational study. We didn't have a control group or anything, but just writing down like what we saw as shared features in all of our patients' cases during periods of really intense stress. And one thing that we saw, like, again, during periods where there's actual physical danger, so the nervous system knows that you need to run, all of our patients with chronic conditions that had to do with a lack of energy got better.
Right.
Felt better.
Right.
They felt so much better. And our interpretation is that their bodies are digging into reserves that they don't, like, normally they save it for a rainy day. The rainy day comes, and here, you know, use it, because maybe it's use it or lose it. But then once the danger passes, then you're left, you still have a chronic condition. and you've drained all of your reserves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're going to be net worse. So what do we do? Like when the crisis passes, what are your recommendations as, you know, as an expert in your field?
Yeah. So I'm speaking now mostly as an acupuncturist trained to deal with trauma and post-trauma. I think is like the hat that's most relevant here. And there's a couple things. First of all, remembering that there was a crisis and that we're compromised. Okay, so something, here's something, helpful hint for everyone to know. If you have any sort of respiratory infection, you have a cold, flu, miserable, runny nose, sore throat, stay home, rest, get lots of fluids. The day you feel better is the day you're most likely to get pneumonia.
Always.
Because as long as you're sick, your body is activating immune system cells in this whole area. Mm-hmm. Your immune system is working extra hard. And then the day that the virus has been defeated, your immune system is like, okay, we're going to turn the immune system way down so we can start clearing all of the gunk out. And if you get exposed to any sort of other viruses or fun bacteria on that day, the day that you feel better, you're way more likely to get sick again. And so the official recommendation from all of the health organizations is that when you get a respiratory infection, not only should you stay home as long as you're sick so you don't spread it, so on and so forth, you should also stay, the first day you wake up feeling okay, stay home. That's the day you can start planning to leave the house again. That's not the day that you call people up and go, hey, I can make it after all because I'm better. Mm-hmm. And
I would make a slightly different recommendation coming from the culture that I come from. Mm-hmm. Get sunlight the entire time. So don't stay home too literally.
Oh, no. Sunlight. Stay away from humans.
Yes,
stay
absolutely.
Away from humans. Yes, absolutely. Not necessarily stay indoors. But I think the same thing happens with a crisis. I know so many people who are like, yes, we're done with that. Now, on to my to-do list.
Yes.
And you really do have to take the time.
I'm that person. I am absolutely that person.
Me too. I mean, everything here is from both education and experience.
Yep.
And people are often even like, oh, I lost out on time. I have to catch up. So let me do even more. Mm-hmm. And you're not taking into account, you know, not just are you not automatically back to where you were, you're not as functional as you were because your body is still actively recovering and because you'll have burned through reserves of energy that you now don't have available.
I think that the thing that we need to say really, really clearly is that stress takes a physical toll that requires physical rest and physical recovery.
Stress is physical.
Yes.
Stress is a hormone thing that happens in the body.
Yes.
It's not, It's not, although I did love the woman who was like, I don't know if you sent me this. Someone was like, everyone's saying my ADHD is in my head. Yes, that is where the problem with my dopamine receptors is.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing out the obvious.
Yeah, but stress isn't just in our head. Stress is actually something that happens in our cardiovascular system, in our lungs, in our muscles, in our various glands all over the body. I don't want to start getting too graphic.
Yes.
Ow. Stress.
Are you okay?
It happens, when I stabbed myself on the table like I was moving my arm around. It turns out it was a splinter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so stress is as physical as stabbing yourself on a splinter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. As a coach, I absolutely agree with everything Havva said. Oh my gosh, I'm a very, very big proponent of rest. I encourage my clients to rest for a half hour a day, only because I can usually only get them to agree to a half hour.
Yeah, I know one of your clients who was like, I have weird homework this week.
Mm-hmm. Every week. Every week, yes.
So it's the first week you talked to her about that. I saw her and she was, I was like, how was it with Malkie? And she went, I have weird homework this week. I think it's going to be hard.
Yes, it is surprisingly hard. But the other one is that you have to, is a chunk of thought work where you have to like look around and see what is. Because your brain is stuck on a certain level in the threat. So you need to, so as you're scanning for threat, you can actually almost break that cycle and say, and just keep repeating to yourself, everything is okay now. Things are okay now. Or in the case of my daughter, she's healthy now. I had to really, I had to look at her and say, this is a healthy child. And it was something I did very, very intentionally. Pretty much, I mean, she's a toddler. And every time I looked at her, I was like, she's healthy now. And it very much changed over time the way I interacted with her. Because, she's healthy now. I don't have to worry about, oh, goodness only knows what. I don't have to worry about whatever the things I had been worrying about till then were. She's healthy now.
Do you find that it makes a difference if you say it out loud?
I don't know that it really matters that much. I think that what matters is that you think it.
Okay.
Right? Saying it out loud, the trouble is something that I'm very, very careful about is I do not want my clients ever to tell themselves something that they believe is a lie. Mm-hmm. Right? When it comes to thought work,
lying to your brain
is a bad idea.
Not
right?
the good basis for a relationship.
Right, which is, I think, part of the problem that I believe exists with, what do you call that, The Secret and all that stuff. Oh. Because you need, when you're working on thought work, it has to be something true. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. It has to be something true. It's just, it could take you a couple of thoughts, mm-hmm. It's a couple of stepping stone thoughts to get to what's actually really true. Mm-hmm. But, I had a doctor tell me, she's healthy now, right? And yes, we have to be careful about sunscreen and sun exposure for the rest of her life. We do. Mm-hmm. But, and she's healthy now. The truth is that if I'm being totally honest, the girl is so pale, and we live in the Middle East. There's a really, we're stricter than we would have otherwise been, but the mm-hmm. girl needs sunscreen no matter what. I mean, honestly, we're just stricter about it. Mm-hmm. I may not have bought her, her bathing suit right now is perfect for places like South Korea and Australia, where they wear the full body, what do they call them, bikinis? And meanwhile, everybody on our beach is in bikinis, and I'm like, these people are insane. But maybe I would have, but I was always careful about sun exposure with my other kids. They had long short, my girls had long shorts and long and what do you call it? Those water tees, mm-hmm. always, because sun exposure matters, and we're very pale. But yeah, with my youngest, I'm neurotic. It's a whole other thing. But the thought is still there. She's healthy mm-hmm. now, Yeah. So, when, the bombs are no longer dropping is a real thought. And it could be that, but it's a stepping stone too. I'm safe now. Mm-hmm. Right? Which is a little bit harder to believe, if I'm honest about it. Part of me listens to the thought, I'm safe now, and absolutely resists it. But that's mm-hmm. for me and my therapist.
Yep. Mm. Highly recommend therapy. Also, yes. I have... I go to see a woman who works on releasing emotions that are trapped in the muscles. So she jabs her finger into trigger points, and then is release, let go. It doesn't matter what they said when you were 3. It
works.
Yeah, no, I've completely forgotten how what you said right before that I was trying to connect to, because now I'm we were talking about believing, about only choosing thoughts that you can believe. Well, yeah, no, something. It was after that, anyway, sometimes physically getting the body to relax,
mm-hmm.
gives you that the I'm safe feedback more than talking to yourself, I think.
Yes, I
If
believe
your
that.
body is like, your brain's going to go, yeah, I don't believe this unsafe thing you're trying to sell me.
Right. Okay. Meanwhile, it's 7 o'clock and I've got to go. I have no
All
idea
right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I think maybe we have to follow this one up next week with a part 2.
I think so too. Let's make can you just send a note between the two of us so that we remember that we said that? Because I think that we've said, oh yeah, we'll have a part 2 like for 5 podcasts in a row.
We usually get back to things eventually, but yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week. Have a happy Shavuot if you celebrate, and we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.
Fantastic. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.